Hello, and welcome to Hobsquatch. Thank you for joining us for yet another video on making my own tabletop RPG. I would very much just like to keep talking like this throughout the rest of the video. Or maybe I should talk more like this. Nah, I think we're gonna go with the regular old Logan voice. Logan, Hobsquatch, third video. Today we're going to be getting into more of what my actual tabletop RPG is supposed to be like. The dice. Now I only have one here, unfortunately, but it is a D4. This little guy right here. Now, what I'm going to talk about is not only the dice, but how the dice are supposed to work in the game. A lot of RPGs like to use a D20. That's probably the most common one I've seen between like Dungeons and Dragons, The Dark Eye. I think the D20 is a good system. It's just not what I want to use. Another thing I've seen is 3D6s. That I like a little bit better because more dice are flying out of your hands. But I've got this thing. I just want to be different. I wanted to see how this went. Originally, my game that I made was a bare bones skeleton system that I had made for the Legend of Zelda. I wanted Legend of Zelda on tabletop. I didn't see the game franchise actually doing that. So I decided to try to take it into my own hands just for me and my buddies to screw around with. So with the Legend of Zelda, I noticed that, the Triforce was such a big piece in that game that why not make the dice like some kind of triangular thing? The closest thing I could get was a pyramid. But it was close enough in my mind. Now, this being a D4, the highest being 4, lowest being 1, originally I had thought, okay, let's do 5 of them because the highest on 5 of them is going to add up to 20. The lowest score you could get would be a 5. And we'll see how that goes. So I took the 5 D4s and I started rolling out checks. I started making up characters. I started doing everything that is supposed to be done with the dice that I had. And I noticed that no matter what I was doing, everything was coming out painfully average on the scale of where things were to be. So I said, okay, I've got 5 dice here. There's got to be something I can do with that. So I decided to put a +1 modifier or bonus for each double that you got in the strand. And it was working okay, but you got a lot of doubles. You were always going to get at least one double because there was 5 of the dice. Now, with that being said, it still seemed that most of the rolls were coming out fairly average. So I kept tweaking it around, kept working with it, seeing what I could do. I added an agility system, which I still like, but the agility system was basically a defense modifier. Every time that you attack an opponent or they attack you, the person who's getting attacked is going to roll against that to see if they could dodge or block or parry or what have you, and it's the defense modifier is going to basically be their bonus. The rolls are still coming out painfully average, even with that opposed test mechanic I had made for combat rolls. And when you're outside of combat, what's gonna go against that? So I kept tweaking it, and finally I came to the conclusion: okay, 5 is just too many. That's what I think the problem is here. The numbers aren't very volatile. The average ended up being 12, like a lot of the time. So, I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm really bad at math, and that's probably why this happened. But I think I can still make it better. I was going to shave it down to 4 D4s, and then I thought, well, is that going to make the numbers volatile enough? And I decided to be bold and shave it down to 3. And I said, okay, I'm going to go with 3 D4s. It's the first thing I'm going to try, and if it doesn't work, I'll just go up to 4, and we'll know what I need to do. But when I went down to 3, I noticed, okay, now there's a potential to never get a double. because you only have 3 dice and you have a range between 1 and 4 on each of them. Now the numbers are going to be more volatile. So now I'm making rolls and I'm seeing that there is somewhat of an average, but they really are more volatile. But with the way that I set the system up for the attack, the defense, the things that you're going to be doing, the bonuses that go into it, I noticed, okay, things are starting to work out a little bit better. There's a reasonable chance for failure. There's a reasonable chance for success. So I kept the 3d4s, and I think that that's what I'm going to use as my framework for my dice system. Now, I also have the bonuses that I'm going to add in. I don't have so many doubles potentially to get now with the 3d4s, so I decided I'm going to do a +1 for a double, and if you get a triple, it's going to be a +2. I also need to account for auto fails and auto successes, or possible critical successes or failures. So triple 1s is an auto fail, triple 4s is an auto success. Varying degrees of success I might have more work to do on. I don't even know if it's a road that I want to take right now, because I'm not trying to make this game so generic, but I am trying to keep it somewhat simple. But I don't think it's a bad idea to add something like that, especially down the line. Right now I just have the framework made for the dice system for this brand new RPG, and I think I can look into it later and see what I can add. But I also want you guys to let me know what you think about the dice system I'm going to be using. If it sounds way too scary to touch, I am pretty confident that it is going to be what I'm using, because with this dice system, I actually ran a one-shot of the Legend of Zelda RPG, and I kind of had to muck up the story really bad because I had all these races you could play: the Skull Kids, the Gorons. I had the what else I have? I had the Twilly, I had the Zora, I had the Korok, the Kokiri. I had a bunch of races from in the game that were all together, and as you know, with all the timelines, some of those races don't really exist with one another. So I had to make like some timeline merge thing with the Master Sword, but I made it work, and they enjoyed it a lot. They thought it was really fun, and the dice system was not a drawback in their eyes. That they made no negative comments about that, and they thought that it actually added some flavor to the game, that it made it feel different, especially the way that the checks were done, and the way that the bonuses were used, the skills were used, and it just felt like a different flavor to them. But the Legend of Zelda RPG isn't necessarily going to be me pulling everything I made for that game and putting it into this new RPG that I'm making, because, like I said, I want it to be mine and my own. Not that the Legend of Zelda one that I made for that wasn't, but I have a lot of different things I want to do that I have more creative freedom to do, because I'm not basing it off of a setting that already exists. So, like I said, tell me what you think in the comments about the dice system, how you think it would work, just what your general opinion is on it. And then if you guys are making any of your own RPGs, or if you're homebrewing mechanics or supplementary content for another RPG, just tell us about it. And also, I got a Facebook page up, Hobsquatch, just facebook.com/Hobsquatch, and you'll find it. And give it a like, and I'll be doing updates and things like that aren't going to be on YouTube. It could be updates about what I'm doing with the game, or when I'm going to put my next video out, to keep you guys informed on where this is going to go. This is going to be a long road making this tabletop, but I kind of want to do it with the community, and I want to make sure that everyone kind of has a voice in it, whoever this gets to. And I want it to be something that everyone can find a way to enjoy. I think it's a very, very good way to get the community involved in something that, even if I'm making it, I think that it's a good way for me to avoid bad mechanics as well. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Last 2 videos I got good feedback, pretty responsive people. And see you guys next time. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.